Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm gonna give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car is gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Hey, it's Tom here. It is time for the 5th installment of Savor Charlotte Edition, presented by Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority. We're joined by Justin Hazelton, a groundbreaking mixologist from Charlotte, whose bar was listed on Esquire's top 15 bars in America. It's called Lorem Ipsum, and it's known as the first listening bar in Charlotte. Justin was born and raised here in the Queen City by parents who worked in the medical industry. And though Justin now owns one of the top mixology programs and spaces in the region, he actually got his start in, of all things, cardiology. Justin has worked the bar at Top Chef alum Jamie Lynch's old restaurant, Five Church in Charlotte, and James Beard's semifinalist chef Greg Collier, who you might have seen on Top Chef Carolinas for the Southern Sides episode. Justin reveals he will be expanding operations soon, and you got to make a stop at Lorum Ipsum next time you're in Charlotte. Enjoy the conversation with Justin Hazelton. Justin Hazelton.
What's up, man?
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to have you here. You know, February 5th was when we met at the Savor Charlotte event at the James Beard platform, and we went out and we got these. It was the pickle martini at Pastis.
Pastis, that was amazing.
Because I'm in the presence of like a bartender connoisseur, bar manager, and you were like, we gotta try these. And so it was. I think we ordered a couple of them, maybe
too many. First of all, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
for sure. And yeah, it was great meeting you in New York. That was just a great time. It's like New York rolled out the red carpet, in a way. Even outside of that, I mean, all the cool things I did out there. But Pastis was a highlight for sure. The burger. Yeah. That pickle martini, they know how to do it. Yeah.
And you did the beverage program at that event, and you made the Uptown Cornball, which I love. Yep. Great. You tend to do this. You're the bar manager and proprietor behind Lorum Ipsum here in Charlotte, just down the street off of Central at the Refuge Hotel. Yep. So. It was a real treat to actually get to know you, and I hope the people out there will appreciate what you're doing here in Charlotte, and not just what you have here in Charlotte, but what you're building. So first of all, congratulations on being named Esquire magazine, one of the best bars in America, on that list in 2025. After opening in 2023, in 2 years, get named to the Esquire list. That must have been wild.
Yeah, it was wild. It was affirming, So I guess I won't say wild. It was really affirming, and it felt really good, especially as we're growing. Like Lorem Ipsum was built as almost like an incubator concept. We're trying, and I was still building and growing, and for it to be named one of the best bars in America, and we're still we're not even in our final form. It's kind of like, all right. Let's keep going. Yeah, for sure.
Affirming, and I think for a lot of people, they might not realize, okay, it's not just a bar. It's a listening bar, which is you're blending the two concepts of you want to have great drinks and great music, but also just an all-encompassing great vibe, right?
Indeed. We focus on the experience from an audio perspective. We built that around the drink. And I think that's important for almost anything that you're consuming now. Well, always, but even more so now. So I knew when we first built Lorum Ipsum that not just making cocktails, but bringing that other experience into it. Curating sound, curating music, and that environment is super important. And as you see, it's taken off across the world, so it makes sense.
Where did you get the idea to do this?
Just like a lot of other folks, just maybe slightly ahead of some folks here in Charlotte, just got inspired by the Japanese jazz kisses. I thought they were an excellent idea. I thought it made perfect sense to focus, to slow down in a world that kind of is going too fast, overstimulation, and you know, really minimizing and focusing on aspects. And in this case, it's music, but I think we should do more things to kind of like maybe 3 things at one time.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, the jazz kisses in Japan, you know, it just everything's done right.
So explain to the audience what that means.
Sure, for sure. So the jazz kisses essentially in Japan are they were tea lounges essentially where they're listening to great jazz music. And the listening bar concept came from that because in these places, you know, it's kind of quiet, very good sound systems, very focused, intentional space. Once again, a great musical experience you would get. And then as it kind of grew, go to places in London and Argentina where they would have, you know, more cocktails because I think it was more so of a tea thing, like I said.
Yeah.
Cafe experience. And then when they tapped into the cocktail situation, I think that's when it took off. I think that's when a listening bar concept kind of really started taking off. And it just made perfect sense. All the detail that goes into a cocktail or a drink, and then you see all the detail that goes into making great sound. I think, they just really paired well together. And then I got really inspired off of it. And not just inspired by the sound, but how those spaces look. There was a lot of attention to making a vibe. And I think sometimes that word is used a little too much, but it's making a really cool experience that you want to be inside of. It feels almost cozy in that space or focused. And I knew I wanted to build an aesthetic around kind of that inspiration that I got there as well. Yeah.
Was it the first one in Charlotte, listening bar?
Technically speaking, I think it was the first one. Yeah, that called itself a listening bar. You know, to give props to, you know, an OG in Charlotte when Soul Gastro was on Central Boulevard. Yep. I could definitely say that would be a listening bar-esque. You know,
I remember going a Friday night, DJ's playing. I'm eating sushi, music, and the energy was unlike any place in Charlotte I had been to.
Yeah, and that place was definitely a big inspiration for me. But
and that bar downstairs, the cocktail lounge,
20, I think it was 22 or something like that. Or I don't.
It was also like a really cool experience that they really felt intentional about. We want people to walk in here and feel like it's a transformative experience. Like you're not on Central Avenue anymore. You're in this cozy sensory experience.
Exactly. So, you know, some things are to be called specifically listening bar. There are rules to them. And as you know, that is our brand, that's who we are, Lorum Ipsum Listening Bar. And as we grow, we become even better and better at giving that better listening experience. That's where we're growing into. I guess it's a good segue. We're expanding and we're in a new space. We're going to have, you know, actual, like a real listening room in it.
Okay.
With primo sound. And as I grow as a mixologist and a bar manager and a beverage operator, a business owner, we get better at the drinks, we get better at systems, so we also could grow with the sound, you know. So I'm just excited about that expansion and everything.
I'm imagining like walking into like a guitar shop, and then there's like a standalone, like acoustically, just a perfect place to go listen and hear what you're playing.
Exactly.
You're gonna have that at this venue.
Absolutely. There is a guitar shop on Central that has a room like that. But yeah, that is that's exactly what we want to do. We want to have a place of focus, a place where you really can listen to that song, that experience, in as best quality as you possibly can have. And sometimes I believe, you know, that experience is in your car. You know, low-key, you have 5 or 6 speakers all the way around you. You have good bass if you have a good car, and you have this kind of focused listening experience. And I think you know, you should be able to do that outside of your car too, you know?
Yeah.
You know, or outside of a studio, you know?
Because so much of the American music experience, just in general, is like just throw something on Spotify and listen to it in your AirPods or whatever it is. Yep. But there's a communal aspect to listening to an album where you're with your buddies, you're with your people, you're sitting down and you're enjoying this album together while catching up.
Yeah.
Your Lorem Ipsum is a third space that feels like you want to be there with your people.
Absolutely.
You know?
And at the same time, we also like to make space for the introverts and the people who want to sit in the cut and, not have that communal experience. But we push for that. I love the fact that even if you aren't necessarily doing it with others, like you all are like high-fiving, but you all are having this experience together, the introvert and the extrovert in the space. So, like I said, as we're growing, we're focusing on how making space for both of those type of people in a new expansion.
So why Charlotte? Like, what's your story in Charlotte? You grew up here, and so the idea of you having your place in Charlotte, that's got to have an extra meaning to you.
Yeah, it means a lot. I was raised here in Charlotte. I'm a military brat, so I was born in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Moved up and down the East Coast until at 7. We landed here, and I've been here since I was 7 years old, and I love Charlotte. I watched Charlotte grow. I've everything that I've turned into as a person, I've kind of learned here. So when it's time, when I've I guess come to prominence, what do? Leave? No, I think it makes perfect sense to see this thing grow, and I think the city deserves that respect as well. I'm happy to build this here, and I just go away from the notion that some people think that you should go somewhere else to get on. I say, especially if you say your city is small or not as fast as a bigger city, that means you should fully dominate then, and then go to the next one. So I think
go to the final boss and
go to the final boss and then go to New York or whatever. Yeah. But if that's your perspective, I don't even look at it like that. Right. I look at Charlotte as a distinctive city. I think Charlotte has personality. I just think sometimes you got to peel back a few layers to get to that and get through some nonsense and minutia. But yeah, I think I love Charlotte, and I'm proud to build my first location here.
Your journey was not linear.
No.
So as I was sitting down and learning more about Justin Hazelton, I realized you started going to school for cardiology.
Yeah. I thought I would be a heart doctor. I really did. I was like, that's it, So I was inspired, of course. My dad is in non-invasive cardiology, and I just saw that. I grew up with that's all I saw. My mom's nurse, so that's all I saw, and I was like, okay, what's the next? I guess as a teenager, I was like, what's the next progression of this? And I was like, I want to be a thoracic surgeon. I want to be that's what I wanted to do. So my dad even helped me out getting a job too young in the hospital. So I started as an EKG tech in the hospital. I was 17, about to be 18 years old. I was going to school, and during the day, and then going to the hospital at night. And I did that for years, and I moved up in that field, and then I got burned out, and then I realized I was doing it for the wrong reasons, and I realized I was following something that I didn't really care about, or it was, it was more about money or position or status, and then when you don't really have the right reasons, when you go into something, they start falling apart when pressure hits, and I got burnt out, and I just dropped it all, to be honest with you. When I went through that phase, that burnout, I always had a side job in the restaurant industry. And all thing that was left at that time period was my server job. And then, with no identity, with no real trajectory forward, I was just kind of like floating and like lost, like in the restaurant world. And then I saw these bottles and I saw a bar, and I was just like, this seems cool. And then, is there any interaction between cardiology and the medicine, like medical science, that you infuse in your, like, is there any part of your brain that feels like, oh, I feel like I'm good at this because I studied, not that you. Oh yeah. I mean, it's first of all, that's an amazing question, right? And I'll tell you, I'll give you two reasons why. Firstly, I remember one day, I had a patient who passed away. And it was someone I was talking to the day before, and then they were gone the next day. I was doing EKGs on them consistently, I guess every couple hours. And then the next day I came in and they were gone. Matter of fact, I think I had to do an EKG on their them as because they were gone to see if their organs, their heart was still working, whatever. And the same day, that same night, I had to work at this restaurant. And someone was mad because we didn't have a meatball on the pasta, and it was just like I couldn't. It was like I couldn't compute it. It was just like, you're tripping about this. And I watched their family, like, they took it pretty well, you know. So the pressure of the medical field going into the high pressure of the restaurant industry, it didn't affect me the same. I could take levels of pressure that was happening in the restaurant, like it rolled off my shoulders. It was nothing to me.
It was light work
it was nothing.
When you're in hospitals and you're tending to people who are on life support or whatnot.
Yeah.
Having any sort of stress and there is stress in a restaurant, workplace.
But it ain't life or death. You know, I tell my teams, I'm like, this is important, but this is not. This is starch and sugar and fermentation, and they're going to be all right. You know, because I've seen the difference. The other side of it is, you know, my days were 10 and 12 hours long, and I would go into shifts that was 6 hours, and the days would go by because of the constant busyness. The days would flash by in the restaurant industry. So I was like, wow, it's like I wasn't even working almost. Like I remember like this.
You're not watching the clock. It's not ticking by.
Everything was so fast for me. And I loved that. And then BPMs. So my whole life was based on BPMs, beats per minute. And then I'm running a listening bar, and it's all about BPMs, and it's all about, you know, pattern and pattern recognition. And it was just like, oh man, look at this. It's almost like I was like secretly trained or something for this. Like I was perfectly made to deal with this pressure, pattern, structure, all that type of stuff. And then of course in the music, BPM. So
when did it hit you? Like when did it hit you? Like this is what I need to be doing. Like because you said you were lost, you're floating around.
Yeah,
that kind of connotes that you were aimless or you didn't have your footing into something.
Yeah.
When did you find that footing?
I found that footing when I thought I found that footing when I started making money. But no, I just screwed off that money. It was just server, quick money, bartending, quick money. But then when I got behind a real bar, because I always looked at service, even when I was in places that weren't that nice, I always prioritized really good service. And even from the bar, I always wanted to get fine dining style service. Even from a bar perspective, I never was interested in like quick bartending. So when I got a chance to be at a bar, when I could actually give really good service and I could actually go deeper into it, it was like, oh my God, this is it. I found like...
It's not transactional.
Yeah, it didn't feel exactly. It didn't feel transactional. It felt like, oh man, we're doing this money thing at the end. Like, okay, it kind of messed the vibe up a little bit. And getting I think in any industry, definitely the food and beverage industry, getting lost in the shuffle of it for me is a good thing. The transaction is kind of a distraction, and you're falling in love with the process and the interaction. So when I found that on the bar, and that's when I was like, okay, this is it, and I want to sink my teeth into it, and I want to learn everything about it, and yeah, all of it. So that's
where was that?
I was at Five Church. Yep, I was at a little bar upstairs at Five Church.
And Jamie Lynch was a part of that at that point? Yeah.
Yep.
So top chefs, Jamie Lynch at Five Church.
Yep.
And then you also worked at Sophia's Lounge, is that?
Yep, Sophia's. That was after it. I became a bar manager there. And I became a manager there at Five Church. Helped them do Five Church Atlanta back in the day. And then when I came back from Five Church Atlanta, Sophia's Lounge.
Yeah.
And then
I think I've been to the Five Church in Atlanta. I think I've
they
had the stuff written on the ceilings, right?
Yeah, same thing over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they're together anymore or whatever. I don't know about all that stuff. This is before all that stuff happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Sophia's Lounge, I had the opportunity of managing and helping open that space as well. So that was cool. That was interesting. But an awesome experience. So yeah, that kind of set the tone for me. And then I got even more hungry after that. I feel like that just kind of gave me like a little wetted my whistle, but it didn't. It was time to like level up after there.
Yeah. So then you get with the Collier, Sabrina and Greg Collier at Lee and Louise, and I hope they're bringing it back, but I don't.
I hope so.
It would be amazing. But like you've been rubbing shoulders with James Beard nominated chefs and been in kitchens with acclaimed chefs. What's your experience about Charlotte as a city? Like, Top Chef is here, Michelin Guide is here, your bar is now recognized in top publications. You're from Charlotte, so what is your feeling about the city of Charlotte on its come up?
I'm feisty about it. I'm very forward about the fact that about damn time. And
about damn time.
And of course we're not on the level. We're not New York City, we're not LA, we're not New Orleans, because we don't have as much as many places, but the places that we do have, you got to put some respect on our name. We're figuring out even faster and even quicker how to make that experience even better and better, and to make more of those here in Charlotte. So back to what I was saying about how fiery and forward I am about it is, to be a bar tender, to be a mixologist, to be a bar owner in this city, due to it being a controlled state, you have to go hard. You have to make your own flavors. You can't get that bottle that somebody else can easily get in other places. So that makes you better. More pressure makes you nicer. You know. And in these results that you're seeing, you're just seeing the beginning of it. There are a lot of amazing chefs they're actually the sous chef, and they're about to come, and is another wave coming. There's some mixologists that are coming out. There's another wave coming, and what has happened is the door just cracked open, and now I think you're about to see a flood happen, and it's going to be really good for the consumer and everything else. So.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But I'm not even from Charlotte, but there's a sense of pride. I've been here for a decade now, and there's a sense of pride that we're not the little sister of Atlanta. We're not baby Atlanta. We have our own identity. So is Lorem Ipsum contributing to that in ways that you wanted, and like you feel like, there might not be as many places as New Orleans or Atlanta or New York, but this is what you want it to be, a staple of culture here in North Carolina.
Absolutely. I'll start with myself. You ask me, I am from Charlotte. I am born in North Carolina. I am from Charlotte. If you're asking what does Charlotte look like and what does an identity of Charlotte look like, you can use me. I think I'm pretty cool. I think
I can vouch.
Hey, yeah. But it's a lot of times when people see something really cool or really exceptional in a place that they don't think it should be there, they try to tie that identity to somewhere else. This is just like, don't do that. Wait, don't do that. This is Charlotte. And if you can do that and continuously tie something dope to this city, without saying, this is very Brooklyn-like. This
feels very like Atlanta, circa 1994.
Stop doing that. Yeah, like this is Charlotte. We're not copying anybody else. I'm not jocking off anybody. If I'm inspired by a Japanese kisa, sure, but this is Charlotte.
Well, like Kobe Bryant, he's watching Michael Jordan and taking a lot of his moves in the same way that like Greg Maddux is studying film of another pitcher and taking notes from that and then making his own spin on it.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's so perfect with music is people are just sampling constantly.
Yeah.
And even your favorite songs you don't realize is a sample of a sample of a sample. And so to bring it back to Lorem Ipsum, you came up with that name, and at first I'm like, is that like the small bone in your ear, like the scientific, or is that like a German inventor of the needle on a record player?
Okay.
It's none of those things.
None of those things.
Explain what that name and why you chose that name for your listening bar.
Yeah. So Lorum Ipsum is a filler text, a dummy text. It is a filler when you're trying to write anything, and I guess in creative writing or or
like a
writing
graphic
book,
design,
graphic design, and you have you want to put words here, you just don't know what to put there.
You want to see what the font looks like, the type, the
you
size,
wanna space it, and
like how do these letters look?
Yeah. That's exactly what Lorem Ipsum was to me. It was, I know that I want to do a bar. I know that I want to have this expression. I need to fit it in here and see where the margins are, literally the margins of a bar. I need to see how this thing fit, and what do I call it? Lorem Ipsum.
It's that. It's whatever you want it to be. Like it is a project. Like it's an amorphous thing that you will eventually start. It'll start to shift and move within the margins of what it can become.
I think it's kind of like, it's wild because that's the brand now. That's the name. You know, it has its own identity now. For me, financially, creatively, in every way, I wanted to take a risk. I wanted to try out something and see how it works. I didn't want to lose my ass off of it. I didn't want to I wanted to try it. I wanted a beta test of a bar. And who knew that it would go this far? Well, I kind of did know, but that's another conversation. When I was typing in names, the Lorum Ipsum text popped up. And I looked up the definition of Lorem Ipsum, and I love the definition, and I've said this before. It is a filler text to not distract the creative from the creation. Or so it's basically not to distract you as a creative. And I was like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm not trying to be distracted. I don't want to waste time in titles and all this stuff, and I want to build this thing. And it felt good. And that's probably the most important part. It felt good. The name felt good.
A quick message from today's sponsor, the ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program. If you've ever owned a pet, you know they have their own quirks, their own weird little behaviors, and it's part of what makes them lovable. But when those quirks and weird behaviors shift slightly, you don't know if suddenly that means that they're sick or they're just being different. That lack of certainty is how you end up with those surprise vet visits you didn't see coming. Luckily, ASPCA Pet Health Insurance helps cover eligible vet expenses, so when these quirk shifts happen, you can focus on getting them the care they need without overthinking the cost or second-guessing your decision. Plus, when you enroll in an ASPCA Pet Health Insurance plan, you could get a $25 Amazon gift card. It's a little treat for you while you're doing something great for your pet. Because big vet bills never show up when it's convenient, do they? To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/dings, D-I-N-G-S. That's aspcapetinsurance.com/dings. Eligibility restrictions apply. Visit aspcapetinsurance.com/Amazon terms for more info. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance.
Why do young people need to understand the importance of vinyl?
Because if everything is digital and everything is untouchable, if music is always in the cloud, you're going to understand how real it is, understand how delicate it is. It makes you respect music. When you have a needle a needle touching a tiny groove and you could see your music. Matter of fact, if you turn all the sound, all the electric off, if you listen real close when you're spinning vinyl, you can still hear it. You don't even need electricity. And it's so sensitive and so delicate, you must respect it. You must respect it. So I think it's a lesson in respect, mainly. That's what vinyl is. You can't bump around too much around it.
Yeah.
If you're too flippant, you're too wild, you gotta respect it. You can't just be running around like you have a phone in your pocket. You have to slow down and respect it. And I think I don't even have another reason. I think that is the main reason why.
It's so true. Yeah. And it's something deeply human that it's a different sensory experience, both physically holding a vinyl, hearing it, the textures of it. Well,
I think eventually First of all, I think the sound. I guess that's just be the second reason. The sound is amazing. It's warm. It's different. You can, when I was studying all this and through audio engineering, when you really zoom in on a wave, or an analog sound, there are no right angles. There are no lines. We can't hear it with our regular human ears, but you can feel it. That when you're listening to digital music, it's even on the smallest level, it's pixels of sound. That's why we need digital to audio.
There's a rigidity to that.
There's a rigidity. You can't even
natural.
Yeah, you don't even know it. Like you can't fully say I can hear the digitizing of the sound, but it's something about it that you can hear the difference between the roundness of a sound wave. So that's why at Lorem, even when we're playing digital music, we use a really good DAC, digital to audio converter, to convert those digital edges in music to rounded edges. And that's also a huge thing. It's just the feeling of music is different. So yeah.
Going to cocktails, is there an equivalent where there's a certain feel to a cocktail, or it's a full sensory experience that you can't just get by getting a can of wine at the store and just opening it up and putting it back? That there's the type of glass you're using, the temperature that you're preparing the cocktail, the type of ice that you're using.
Oh yeah.
It even goes down to the chemical reaction between the two, the different spirits or the different ingredients, the food texture of it. If you're incorporating some sort of garnish on top of that, it is all a scientific thing that you're also balancing, just like music, a feel to it. So
there's so many levels that that's so real on. It could be from, I just left the farm before I came here. That I went and I got that lavender. I cooked that lavender down. I know where that's from. I met this person. And outside of meeting the person and how good it tastes because of how fresh it is. And going deeper into what we can taste actually and what things that we can feel, I just think it's a deeper taste. It's a deeper understanding. So I'll say the hand craftsmanship of a cocktail. That's a person who cares about this drink. They care about the experience. If you've talked to them, they might even be fine tuning it to you. You say you want this drink, and you say, I don't really want anything too sweet, so I back off the honey. I back off a thing for you.
I don't like mezcal. No, I love mezcal. I know it's smokiness, and you're like, okay. I'm
going to tweak this thing out for you. I'm refining it for you.
It's a very personal experience.
It got real personal. There's nothing you can't digitize. I guess in some ways you could digitize that, I guess. But that hand touch to it, reading the room, reading the person, and then on the back end of it, this person's taking all the time to make sure the citrus is right, make sure that the syrups are balanced, make sure they're using the right spirits. There's a level of just human touch that's involved in that scenario that equals that analog experience. It is analog. I would hate to see the digital version of what a bar is. I think it's one of the last vanguards of this real human touch and connection. And I think the equivalent to digitizing it is using ready-made syrups, ready-made drinks, trying to make it as quick as humanly possible, which there is space for that in bars.
Man, I'll tell you, I'm not going to lie. If I'm out on a lake and there is a cutwater of margarita, I'm like, man, I would love to make my own margarita, but this is really, that's close. A different thing though.
Well,
right?
As technology advances, the difference between digital and analog music is going to be less and less and less. They're going to find a way to make that thing look just like a record. They're going to add things from AI to make that experience look the same. And I think as in the food and beverage world, I think there will be some equivalent to make it hyper efficient and almost taste just like my margarita. Like that, I won't say I will never
to like retro engineer your handcrafted margarita.
Retro engineer every last part of it. We have to say that possibly could happen. We just need people to actually care. Like, I think that's the only antithesis to this thing, because I think it's going to get more sophisticated.
I was talking to someone just now about why I liked eating at the bar at like restaurants that have a bar seating. Yep. And it's because of that interaction. It's watching the craftsmanship of making a cocktail, but also hearing the story.
Yeah.
So how much do you infuse that into your listening bar?
Absolutely. It starts with that. I mean, it starts and ends with that. It is the story. Yes, the name is supposed to be like, not contextual, but everything else is. We care about our DJs, our selectors. We care about our team. We care about where we get all the spirits from. We care that everything is handmade and crafted right then and there. Even if it's my story, if people care about that. I think there is. I don't even think you have anything, especially in this world, if you're not talking about story, narrative. And it doesn't even have to be, in my opinion, it doesn't even have to be this grandiose story. I forget who I was listening to, and it was just talking about that maybe the problem with your story is you just think it needs to go left to right, like you're reading a book. What if you start in the middle, go at the beginning, and then end at, you go 2, 1, 3. You start at different points and you make something worthy of looking at. So, but still, you're giving a person a reason, other than just throwing this thing in front of them, when that's basically that's why I like having a space where it's based upon a world, or it's against the world that is continuously just throwing things in front of your face over and over as fast as possible, a place where you must slow down, and it might look like picking up a book and reading a story. You have to kind of slow down to even hear my story. Maybe we all need to slow down and then to even absorb someone's story. And I think that's why people are yearning for it so much. That's why I think businesses are the ones that are leaning into story, food and beverage. Those are the ones that are winning. Those are the ones that are getting accolades, because this desert of a world of hyper everything, people are just yearning for. Please give me something real. Give me a story.
Yes.
Give me context in this experience. So I think it's low key. The story is becoming low key more important than the actual product, which is what's okay.
That's what gets people coming back is the story, right?
Exactly.
That we're wired to be storytellers, and we. It reminds me, do you when you're building something like this, do you want regular, like, do you have a ratio of like regulars to like visitors to Charlotte? Like, you want this percentage of your restaurant going to be occupied by people you see every day or every week are going to come in on Thursday at 7 p.m. Or you want people coming in who are like, I heard about this place, I'm visiting Charlotte for the weekend. You gotta, I think, want to cater to both of those parties, right?
I do. I was thinking, do I want 60-40 like visitors to regulars? I think that's what I'll say that right now. I might regret it later, but I do. I feel like I want more visitors.
You want people from Charlotte, in Charlotte, to be frequenting your place, but you also want people to hear about it. Someone word of mouth. You're coming through Charlotte for the weekend. Stop in.
I like the re-education of what the Charlotte dynamic is in this world. So in this city, excuse me. So we will need a higher amount of visitors to turn them into regulars. So at this point in my career, I'm looking for, we're trying to get, I love my regulars, first of all. We have a lot of them. And we would always take care of them. I used to hate back in the day when you have a AT&T or Singular, new customers get this deal. And I'm like, what? What about me? So shout out to my regulars.
Yeah.
I love y'all. But as we're growing exponentially, and we're moving, we would love to get some people who are brand new, and they already have an idea what Charlotte is, and they can have a new experience with me. So yeah, right now, loving regulars, I'll definitely want that visitor.
Yeah, because Charlotte does feel like a transplant city of people coming in from out of town, and then they move off to somewhere. But there is a metaphor in that of if you're building something in Charlotte, you want it to be something like home where you can keep coming back to it. And so much of the new places in town are from other places. And it's really nice to have something that's born in Charlotte, from Charlotte, in the soil of Charlotte, that feels like you're not moving into Charlotte to take something from outside of Charlotte and putting it here. And that's not to say like, I don't love that Uchi is opening up down the street and that I went to that in Austin and now I can have that here.
Yeah.
But we need more places like yours.
Yeah, I agree. 200%. I love traveling and going to places, but I'm also, when I go to a different city, I want to see the identity of the city. I don't travel to go to the same places I can go to here. So Charlotte, has an identity. They have old Charlotte. You have places that were jumping 30 years ago, 10 years ago, and now you need new places that rep this city. And they're from this city, and they have a resemblance of what used to be, plus what could possibly work in the future. And I believe I represent that. So, yeah.
Is there, Justin, Charlotte history within mixology or?
Yes.
And music that you're also learning, like as you're opening up this place and building and growing, are you learning more about the history of Charlotte in those two spaces?
Oh yeah. Charlotte's music scene I thought has always been dope. I mean, and not just the music scene, the creative and the art scene. It's a new version now and a lot bigger now. But I remember, going to slam poetry, nights, and I remember going to jazz clubs across from CP. What was the name of that spot? I'm sorry, I'll get the name in a second. I remember going to. I remember how deep the Charlotte music scene and how deep the culture was here. I remember coming into the bar scene and hearing about Bob Peters and Stefan. Those are the two big dogs when I first started, in the bar mixology game. It's an honor to be working next to those guys. I can call those guys friends. So the Charlotte's mixology scene existed. Everything has just gotten bigger, and it's competition, and it should be. I think it sharpens the knives.
Oh yeah.
In a good way. So yeah, I think there is a history that I'm aware of, I've perceived, I was a consumer of. I've taken that all in, and I think there's ways to pay homage. There's some things that worked and some things that didn't work. But those things that worked in the past, in say older Charlotte, just probably wouldn't even work now anyway. You need someone who's forward thinking and still can pay homage and pay respect.
We talk a lot about having a signature dish in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Is there a Charlotte cocktail, or is there a Charlotte spirit, or is there something that is closely identifiable with the city of Charlotte that you feel like needs more shine, or something that is unique to the soil here in Charlotte, in the Piedmont region, or what have you, that you feel like you can't really get anywhere else other than this region here? Is there anything that jumps out to you?
There are a few things. The mixed use of farming and spirits, due to our location between mountains and the coast, not just used in a farming way or farm to table, but being used on the bar, for me is kind of really exciting. I'm trying to think of just one thing, which I think that's some work we need to do to make a distinctive thing that Charlotte is known for. But I think about the use of, say, pawpaws and the use of
well, they just did a pawpaws on Top Chef this week. They did a whole thing in Asheville. They Ashley Shanti, who's the chef,
they
did a whole pawpaws, and every chef was like, "Oh, this is amazing."
Yeah, like what is this? It's like it's right around this area. Things like that, and leaning into that, the things that are distinctive of ours. I would say, as a better answer to what you're saying, is the processes, the systems, the fight that we have in us is the more distinctive thing that I'm seeing right now. And I think through that grit and that edge that we're getting, we're going to make very distinctive products through it.
What is that edge? Why do you think there is an edge?
When you're called little bro all the time, when you're always looked past on a national scene, I've rep Charlotte everywhere. Oh man, you don't get the love you need from say a liquor brand, or they don't take you out because they don't really see you as it ain't gonna make an impact. It puts a chip on your shoulder, and you're like, when I get home, I'm going to like double down on my processes. I'm going to find something that's distinctive. That's what it's done to me. I'm looking for that thing that's undeniable. And you don't know until it is. It's fully undeniable. And I think a lot of us in Charlotte are feeling that way. So it's coming through just the edge is being built up, and also the respect is rising. So what you got right there is you got a dog. Like that's what you're creating. So, you know, I can't speak for everybody else. I know the fire that's in me.
Yeah, and I don't feel like just because we have Michelin here now, or that just because you were named in Esquire, just because Top Chef came here, that we're satiated.
No, that just starts it. It's just like I said before, we just saw you punched the guy and saw he bled. It's like, oh, okay. Let's go. I'll see you next season. Because this place is worthy of all that plus more. There's things in the nooks and crannies of Charlotte that for some reason we forgot was important. That in a lot of big cities they don't even have access to. Even the space and the land. And, you know, like I said before, I was at Deep Roots Farm, like I said earlier today, and I was just blown away by the things I had access to. And why it's like, why don't I use this in my drink? Like, what?
Yeah, it's right here.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Don't ever buy that. You know, they let them do that over there in that city. They don't even they're in full concrete. I can literally, they can't mess, like if we're in competition, you can't mess with the freshness of what I can do. We're not even in the same boat at all. So, you know, really leaning into that in this area, in this city, is something I suggest for everybody.
So they were talking at the NBA Finals, which is going on right now. Yeah. Jalen Brunson, the star of the New York Knicks, was asked, "Hey, did you know that the courtside seats or the seats were $75,000 or $7,500 to sit courtside at MSG? What would the reporter asked Jalen Brunson, what would you pay that kind of money for to sit courtside at Madison Square Garden?" And he said, Michael Jackson live. Like if he could see Michael Jackson live.
From the dead.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's a blank check for that. I mean, but what is that for you? Like musically, if there's a concert that, dead or alive, that you would figuratively pull out the wallet for, that would be your bucket list.
$75K.
Well, just not a number, but like, what is the apex of that mountain for you that you would want to sit there and just watch a concert or be there for a concert for a musician, or it could be sports.
I think the original group quartet, Miles Davis, kind of blew.
If you could,
right? I'm in front of it. I'm watching them do it. That right there, I would be like, this is, because that means Miles Davis and John Coltrane are playing at the same time. They're doing Blue and Green in front of my face. And I would, you can't beat that. I could personally. That for me, that would just take that would be next level for me. So yeah.
Is there a concert that you've been to that stands out? Maybe here in Charlotte that stands out as a life-changing experience for you?
I've seen Luther. Yeah, I've seen Luther here in Charlotte. I've seen Whitney Houston.
Wow.
I was a kid, really young on that one.
How old were you?
I might have been. Mom and dad must have took me. I must have been like 7 or something.
Where was that?
I think that was here in Charlotte. Like
yeah, but like was that at the Coliseum? Where
I don't remember it. I don't remember.
Was it outdoors?
Yeah, they told me I had pictures, but yeah.
you got to see Whitney Houston.
Yeah. But that's to say I don't have. I know we've been there, but I don't remember that. I do remember seeing Luther. So that's all I.
It is wild that
those are the ones. Yeah.
that Bank of America Stadium, the football stadium, only started doing musical acts like only a couple years ago.
That's weird. You know, it's like
and you grew up here in Charlotte with never having that kind of football stadium
no
venue.
Arena situations. You're right.
To have like a big...
It was always the old Coliseum over there, the one on Tyvola. You know, I don't know if cats know about that one.
No, that's
where I graduated high school from. Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, over there. This new arena,
Spectrum Center.
Yeah, Spectrum Center. That's a new one. You know what I'm saying? So all of our high school graduations were out there. So yeah.
So yeah, it feels like Charlotte is on the rise, but it has not arrived. I feel like it's still going up. The idea of being arrived means you're staying where you're at. And
I wonder what that means fully. Arrived. You know, you say it's set.
No, I'm saying it has not arrived.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying Charlotte, I don't want Charlotte to feel like, all right, we're good now. I feel like we want to keep ascending.
Absolutely.
And not feel like we've arrived in the sense of, all right, well, then we can kind of like unpack and get settled here in this space. Because people are watching, listening to this, writing down, hey, I want to go to Lorem Ipsum, or I want to go to Soul Gastro Lounge, which is now in a new location. Like all these places. And I want them to come back year after year and find new things to get excited about.
Absolutely. The concept of arrived, I think is, I don't know. I don't. There's no one that should be saying that in Charlotte. Everybody should be
constantly innovating.
Yeah, constantly innovating. And I don't even in cities that are quote unquote arrived. I think it's a very interesting perspective to even say that about it. Like, you've arrived. I guess like New York has arrived, but you should be constantly hungry as a
aspiring.
Yeah, always aspiring. And then collectively, you might look back. I'm like, damn, we've arrived. You know, but I think as an individual, as a business, or as an entity, that shouldn't even be a part of your psyche. You know, and especially if you have not arrived. Especially if you can't look around to your left and right and say that not only you, but all of your peers are in this place. And a lot of times you can gauge that on a national and world scene. So, no, Charlotte has not arrived.
And I do feel like Lorum Ipsum could be an identity for Charlotte of itself, is that it is not this one thing, and we're still trying to figure out how to build this you know, we at this event that we did in New York, I think it was Chris Coleman who said, we're not about a signature dish, we're about a signature process. And the farming and all of this is something that we strive to be, is that you come to Charlotte for that grit, for that energy, for that chip on your shoulder, and that doesn't go away. And we might not have a signature dish, just like Lorem Ipsum is not a brand name in of itself, but as like a canvas.
Yes, exactly. And you know, maybe we're planting seeds for a tree that will never feel the shade from, or be able to rest in the shade of that tree. And I'm cool. I'm okay with that. You know, and I think a lot of us in this industry, we're hopefully kicking down those walls and paving that road so that the next generation will have maybe they won't have as much of a chip on their shoulder. Maybe they just can be able to flow a little better and make some of those more distinctive things. But someone's got to do it, and someone's got to kind of fight that fight. And remember the first people busting through the wall. Mm-hmm. They're getting the shit into the stick. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think I've accepted that a few years ago. Even though I know that I deserve a lot in this industry, based upon the work and the sacrifice I put in, it might be something that I may not be able to perceive. That ain't changing nothing for me, how I work. But I think we might be talking that concept of arrived might be 10, 15, 20 years from now. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Well, you said you're building.
Yeah.
So before we go, I want you to explain where you're at, where you strive to be. Like, what is the next place? So it's a cafe or?
Yep. So Of course, we have Lorem Ipsum listening bar. I think I said earlier that we are expanding. We're small. We're like 600 square feet with a patio inside a refuge hotel. And the next iteration of Lorum Ipsum is going to be multiple times bigger. We're going to have different sections and different areas for it, and we're going to take it to the new level. It's not going to be turned into a big hall or nothing. It's going to be still intimate and still dope. It's still going to focus on those things, but going into our real final form and hopefully building that legacy space. I want it to be there and stay there. Also, I'm building a cafe right now. We always wanted to go into daytime. We wanted to have this experience for people to work in the space. Go deeper into all the flavors that we love. Also have some alcohol and have an amazing tea program and a great espresso drinks. Cappuccinos, lattes, flat whites, all those good things. But make it to the same level that I care about everything else. So it's a new area, but it really ain't. For me, it's about care. It's about detail. It's about efficiency. Love and expressing that, and I'm gonna do that through this cafe, and I'll be opening it up probably in July.
Oh,
yeah,
let's go.
We're getting this thing together. So
that's great.
Keep checking for me.
Yeah, at Justin Drinks
Justin
on
Drinks,
Instagram.
at Justin Drinks, and also at loremipsum.bar. That is Lorem Ipsum. I would love to drop the name on you right now, but we're doing it right now. So yeah.
That would be amazing, but I'm sure you got a whole rollout that I'm very excited for you, man. Justin Hazelton, thank you so much for dropping by and telling your story. I mean, very inspirational, and I can't wait to see. You have not arrived, and I don't think you are going to settle down anytime soon. And just the way you're wired and the quality that you put out, man. Really excited for you.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.